Hi, I'm Lucia, and you're listening to Stories of Ordinary Lives. We often think that only the famous have interesting stories, but I believe that everyone does. In each episode, I sit down with someone you've never heard of, but whose voice matters. From cities to villages, across continents, we uncover the rich tapestry of human experience, showing that we are more alike than we think. Welcome to Stories of Ordinary Lives, where every life tells a tale worth hearing. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Stories of Ordinary Lives. And this episode is different than the previous ones because today I do not have any guest, and I think it's also like a final episode of season 1, whatever that means really. I wanted to do one more guest episode before this one, but technical difficulties and time zones and stuff, unfortunately we haven't made it happen, and soon I'm leaving to a completely different time zone, so it might become very difficult. Anyways, hopefully I'm gonna have new guests, lots of them from my journey this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed. One never know. One never knows because, God knows what's going to happen. And when one travels, it's, can get quite difficult to produce stuff. And yeah, let's see. I'll do my best to bring more lovely people on the podcast as I will go around the Asia for the next couple of months. But I did want to do this episode without guest to kind of reflect on this whole decision to leave London for the time being and go traveling and close that in that way the first season, because I believe it is kind of closure of the first season of the podcast. The podcast started for me as a sort of reflection on my traveling in the winter 24, so 2 winters ago, I guess now, when I first did extended travel to Mexico, Guatemala. I did a month around Caribbean islands, the West Indies. And I found it really life-changing experience. And it was quite surprising. I'm a sociologist, so, I do understand different cultures, or that there are different cultures. I moved to different cultures, so I understand a lot of things around that. But I think I haven't been ready for the Caribbean cultures and, the post-slavery trauma, let's say, which is still present. I wasn't ready for the poverty in Mexico and Guatemala, and I went to India, so it's not like I'm not used to it. But I guess what was the most surprising fact about that trip, or shocking maybe, I don't know, was the sort of cognitive dissonance you have when you are in, for example, Tulum in Mexico, where, you are there on the beach. There are really posh, really nice hotels on the beach, which are really expensive, and they are full of American tourists, Canadians. And then there is this slum in the middle of town, and it's just horrendous. And there are new builds being built every day, and from the balcony of the new luxurious condo, you're looking at a slum. How can anyone do that? I don't know how to go for it, basically. So it's been like this everyday struggle, really, to process the reality of it all, and the inequality of people and the inequality of basic things like having electricity and water, and yeah, it was just kind of hard to navigate, even though I've always traveled low key. I'm not into fancy luxurious stuff. I'm a low key traveler, backpacker. So yeah, it was hard. And after, I don't know, 5-6 months, I went back to London, and it was a cultural shock, complete cultural shock. I walked through the city and everything was so tamed, there wasn't any sand, there wasn't anything dirty there. Everything was so wealthy. The architecture was so pompous and glamorous. Everything was just like city of London, skyscrapers, old buildings, banks, shit like that. And it really hit me out. I was like, what is this? It felt unreal. It felt like a dream. It felt like a social construct, which it is, but really sophisticated social construct. And I just felt like I'm walking through dreams or some sort of landscape built by ideas, which is on one hand absolutely remarkable, really. On the other hand, I don't know, it just felt unfair. And obviously, since a lot of things happened in the world, in the US, Gaza, Congo, Sudan, you name it, it's so much happening. And I don't know, for me this year it was quite difficult to live my London life like nothing's happening, and not make any sort of changes into my life. On top of it, yeah, I've had recently, or this year, I guess, was a bit hard for me at work and even community-wise. I've been in London for 10 years, and it's always been kind of a love-hate relationship, And as a expat, but I guess it's the same for people from UK, you move to London, you talk to people, then they leave, then some other people come, and usually my friends were other expats, not that many British folks anyway, and then with, pandemic and Brexit, a lot of people left. Lots of my friends and the communities we had kind of started, breaking, and yeah, I found it hard to sustain the community. Also because I'm getting to the age where people have families and stuff, kids, etc. So they don't have that much time. And yeah, it just kind of got lonely, really, to be completely honest. And yeah, you can do all the coffees and go to gym and do that and whatsoever. And yeah, I did, my diving club. That was great. But still, I felt like something is missing. And after Mexico, I really wanted to go travel, like, long term. So yeah, so then kind of a miracle happened, really, to a degree. We had yet another round of redundancies in my work. And yeah, I got, after like 5 survived, finally happened to my team as well. So I decided to, take a pause, do sabbatical, go traveling, and see if I can maybe, I don't know, do something else than tech world or, whatever buzzwords. And and like the career ladder and housing ladder and whatever. I don't know. It just feels like I don't want to do it. And it might be, burnout. It might be a midlife crisis. Am I too young for midlife crisis? I don't know. Theoretically not. Who knows? Depends. But yeah, I felt like some changes needed. And I guess in my case, from my experience, I know that the best changes for me are those where I do change my environment, physical environment, and the people I meet and, see what's possible out there. You can read about things, but unless you go there and you actually experience it and your brain sees it and you see all the possibilities out there, it's really hard for me at least, to do change. So I decided I want to make change and I want to make it by doing it. Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure what exactly I'm going to do. I am flying away in 4 days. 3 days. Jeez, 3 days. in 3 days, and starting in Istanbul and then Thailand. I do have a rough plan, and yeah, let's see how it goes. I might do here and there kind of short 15 minutes episodes, just, hey, this is what's happening. I'm also keeping Substack or writing Substack with some reflections, and, there might be a bit more travel writing on there. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to put the link to the Substacks into the episode captures or description. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure if I mentioned everything I wanted to mention. I didn't really write any notes. I should have. Also, I wanted to record this episode much earlier when it was all kind of fresh, all the decision making and stuff. But I just feel like sometimes, even if we do, fear changes, and I do fear changes. I guess everyone fears changes to a degree. And even when we are comfortable, sometimes it's just not it. I don't know, maybe there are people who love to be comfortable. I do like to be comfortable, don't get me wrong. It just didn't feel anymore like the right thing to be doing, if you know what I mean. It just needed a bit something else. Find out if life can be lived differently than the usual way. Anyways, so I am gonna go finish all my packing and get on the journey. And as I said, I'll try to find loads of new guests and take it really more seriously than I did in the last year when I was just too busy and, it was just a bit challenging this year for me, everything. But hopefully now I'm going to have enough time to really, do proper interviews and all, and see how people live out there and bring some ordinary, extraordinary people to you. And should be fun. So stay tuned, and we shall speak later. Bye. Thank you for listening to Stories of Ordinary Lives. The story you've heard today is more than just a tale. It's a seed of empathy and understanding. When we truly listen to each other's experiences, we don't just hear a story, we become part of it. And this is how we scale kindness, one story, one conversation at a time. By recognizing the value in every life, we create ripples of connection that can transform our communities and beyond. So, carry this story with you. Let it inspire you to listen more deeply to others. Until next time, remember that every life tells a tale worth hearing, and every act of kindness, no matter how small, has the power to create extraordinary change, one step at a time.